It is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. In Atomic Habits, James Clear has written what might be the most powerful book on the subject of habits that we've ever read. Clear begins with the concept that success is built on hundreds of tiny habits that manifest themselves in huge ways. He says, your outcomes are a leading measure of your habits. Therefore, your net worth is just a leading measure of your financial habits. Your weight is a leading measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge, a leading measure of your learning habits. Your clutter is a leading measure of your cleaning habits. You get what you repeat. His point, to improve any area of your life, you simply need to dig deep into the systems that you have in place around that behavior. See, it's hard to lose 50 pounds. That's a great goal. But how do you actually do that? You start by going to the gym. You start by walking 5 minutes. You start by cooking your lunches for the entire week on Sundays. None of these things will make you lose 50 pounds, but the combination of all those tiny wins could. An early point that he makes is that you can change how you identify yourself by changing your habits. By bringing your lunch to work or school, you become the type of person who cares about what he is eating. Viewing yourself as someone who eats healthy could make it easier for you to refuse a cookie the next time it's offered. That's all well and good. But how do you actually build a habit? There are 4 simple steps to building a habit that you'd like to create. The first one is the cue. How do I make it obvious? This triggers your brain to initiate a behavior, often centered around a time or location. The second is the craving. How can I make it attractive? Craving is the motivational force behind it. If you don't have any habit, every craving is linked to a desire to get a reward. The third is the response. How can I make it easy? Remove as many barriers to accomplish this task as you can. Take away all the easy and obvious excuses to skip it. And lastly, our favorite part, the reward. How can I make this satisfying? This completes the habit loop and satisfies the craving that was created. For example, that you want to start running every day after work. For the cue, tell a friend or two that when you leave work at 5 p.m., you are going to run. You start to build the association that when work is over, it's time to run. Next, make it attractive. Find a park, a trail, or an area that you'll enjoy running in. To make it easy, make sure that you bring water, running shoes and clothes, and a watch or heart rate monitor to work with you. So you have everything. Lastly, make it satisfying. This could be your favorite sports drink waiting for you when you're done, or something as simple as a phone app that helps you track your progress. The exact steps are customized for you. The point is to make it work using just these 4 steps. The next concept that the book introduces is habit stacking. As the book defines, habit stacking is the art of identifying a habit that you already do, even if you don't have it, each day, and then stack a new behavior on top. To help visualize this, the book puts this into a formula. After current habit, I will new habit. By taking advantage of a habit you currently have in place, it automatically builds a clue into the new habit, thus starting a new habit loop. In the running example that we looked at earlier, I sneaked in an example of habit stacking. Did you notice? When you get off work at 5 p.m., sets a clear clue for the start of your run. Now, this assumes that you are in the habit of leaving work at 5 p.m., but you could just as easily start this habit after work, as long as there is nothing between leaving work and starting your run. If you go to the gym to run on a treadmill, you need to first build a habit to go to the gym, then start the habit to start running. This makes it important to plan ahead, so that there is nothing that could potentially interrupt the clue from happening since it is the start of every loop. This is also why environment plays such a big role in the formation of habits. Think back to the last time that you moved into a new house or apartment. You had to think about how, when, and where to do things that you would normally have just done. This is because of the new environment. Instead of walking into the kitchen first thing in the morning to make coffee in the same location that you have for 6 months, your brain has to break down the process. Where is the kitchen? Where is the coffee maker, and the sink, and so forth? While the habit of drinking coffee first thing in the morning is still there, the mechanics of accomplishing the task are now different. To clarify this even further, let's say you wanted to switch to drinking tea in the morning. There isn't a better time to do it than the first day in a new apartment because you can place the tea bags next to the filter and mug and keep the coffee safely out of sight. You would have made the cue of getting the tea much more obvious than getting the coffee. One is sitting on the counter next to a mug, and the coffee is out of sight. To build on this example, let's say you like honey in your tea. Put the honey on the counter next to the tea. Now making tea with honey is obvious. That's your cue. It is now attractive, too, since you like the honey. Your craving is taken care of. Everything is sitting on the counter and ready for you. You've made it easy. At this point, you've checked off the first 3 steps, and the fourth, making it satisfying, is taking care of it when you drink a warm, honey-filled cup of tea. Reward? All this started with a new environment. In this case, it was the new apartment. Now let's talk about the power of systems and measuring progress. James stresses a system-first mentality. It is the process that is important, not reaching some goal you set. The problem with a goal-first mindset is that once you've reached a goal, that signals an endpoint and often a return to old ways. Where with a system, it would just be another step in the process. Going back to our example of losing 50 pounds, you hit the goal, but once you do, you think you're done. All of a sudden, your old habits start to kick in, and you see the number on the scale start inching back up. If instead of focusing on the goal of losing pounds, you focus on the systems that you used to get there, let's say making your lunch, going to the gym, running, you will have an easier time continuing. You're not done, but you can be happy because all of your systems are running smoothly. Not to mention, you're 50 pounds leaner. Now, knowing you're 50 pounds down could be a good example of another important concept. Though, in order to lose that 50 pounds, maybe one of your goals was to weigh yourself every day. The reward for weighing yourself was recording your weight in a notebook or an app on your phone. This is a great example of habit tracking. Habit tracking provides a visual cue reminding you to act and is motivating because you start to see progress you naturally don't want to lose. The ultimate form of a habit tracker, an accountability partner. As Claire says, knowing that someone else is watching you can be a powerful motivator. Back to the running example one more time. There is actually no need to tell someone that you're running at 5 p.m. or after work. The cue in this situation is the clock hitting 5 p.m. or getting off of work. You didn't have to do it, but by telling a friend or two, you make them into accountability. You don't want to come in the next day and have them ask, "How was the run?" For you to have to reply, "Oh, I didn't do it." That simple act of telling someone could be the nudge you need when old habits are fighting the new cue. Remember, it is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. Your first cue might not work. You may have to adjust it to something that's more obvious. You may need to change the reward to make it something more satisfying. Just keep iterating. What book would you like to see us summarize and animate? Leave your book ideas in the comments below and we'll do our best to get to them. While you're there, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more book reviews and mental upgrades.